still basking in the conflict and joy of what we have today, May 29, 2024. This is still Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television. And now to our first conversation for today. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will address a joint session of the National Assembly instead of delivering a direct nationwide broadcast to commemorate 25 years of unbroken democracy in Nigeria today.
No, President Tinubu will not be addressing a joint section of the National Assembly today. That initial information provided by the President's Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, was false and unauthorized. Now, that's according to Ngelale, the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity.
Very well. As Nigerians mark the 25th anniversary of the nation's return to democracy, they are not sure what the President or the Presidency has in mind and what they are to expect as a signature event to mark the day.
Which leads one to wonder then, a government showing this level of confusion on the most basic matters of statecraft looks more like directly changing the feeling that should come with a day like this from joy to bewilderment and embarrassment.
Former State President, Senator David Mark, former Speaker of the House of Representatives and now President Tinubu's Chief of Staff, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, are all lined up to address the Parliament. At the end of the speeches, President Tinubu will commission the National Assembly Library and Resource Center, now to be known as Bola Ahmed Tinubu Building. And Emeka is still here with us. And Emeka, this is a direct quote from Bayo Onanuga on his X platform, which of course is still there. He hasn't taken that down. Now, the question boils and borders around when we have two chefs in the kitchen preparing a particular meal. How well do you think the meal would taste?
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. I think there's a lack of coordination in the presidency. That's what it's showing. That the chief of staff, who is supposed to coordinate personnel in the presidency, it's not really, up and doing. He needs to do better. This is very embarrassing. Two spokesmen for the president giving conflicting information. As a matter of fact, one of them saying that what the other person put out on X platform was false and unauthorized. Those are heavy words. Those are weighty words. And I don't think he just used those words without, getting clearance from the chief of staff. So that, brings you to the fact that, when you make appointments based on, sentimental considerations, too often you will get these kind of things. You brought in Ajuri Ngelale, and then at a point, you brought in Bayo Onanuga, that Ajuri will handle certain matters emanating from the presidency, information, and then Bayo Onanuga will project the president's activities, blah, blah. What are you talking about? You're just wasting state resources, duplicating state resources. You even have a Ministry of Information. You have trained information officers working in the presidency and in MDAs. Then you now bring your friends, you just keep appointing appointing people into sensitive offices, and the capability of these guys, to handle these assignments, of course, is in doubt. It's a huge doubt.
Before now, the ministers of information in the past administrations have always been known as the only reputable medium or funnel via which information such as this is passed. Why do we have this, just like you did say, duplication of responsibilities?
Yes, of course. You get it now. When politics trumps competence, you bring all manner of people on board. Look at how many special assistants the president appointed to handle information. Are they up to snuff? All you see, go and read their articles or statements, insults. Just insulting people, just reacting as if they are in a bullfight, always fighting, lacking the basic tenets, the basic principles of decent public communication. And it was the same problem that Dr. Goodluck Jonathan had as president. The same problem Muhammad Buhari had as president. People who, who need to go to the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations take a course on public communication, strategic communication, such that these things ought to have been cleared. But yes, maybe there was an initial arrangement for the president to visit the National Assembly, but maybe it was later cancelled. But if there was such, would such a thing have been dropped on X so casually by Onanuga? Why didn't the National Assembly also issue a statement that they will be expecting the president, to do so and so and so and so and so?
Okay.
Not in dissonance. That shows you a government that is not serious.
Okay, Emeka, thank you for that. Now, let's get to the statement. According to the statement by Onanuga, former head of state Abdusalam Abubakar and former Senate President David Mark have been lined up to also deliver speeches on the occasion of President Tinubu's first-year anniversary. Now, looking at this time, looking at his first-year anniversary, looking at the economic turbulence we're having and a lot of things, is it right, even if the president planned not to address, is it right to hand over to the Senate President David Mark, the former head of state, and co to deliver speeches on his first anniversary?
No, of course, why don't? On the first anniversary, you can invite, friends, you can invite guests, to give speeches and all of that. But the interesting thing, when I first saw that about Onanuga, I said that this thing doesn't sit right, because the National Assembly usually marks its yearly anniversary on June 4.
Okay.
June 4 every year. So for you to now say the president will be there to mark Democracy Day on May 29, there's something missing somewhere. I actually thought it would be on June 4, and I'm thinking that it's more likely that the president will go there on June 4 to address the National Assembly. Because if there's already been said that it was false and unapproved, so is the president now saying that some of the tweets that Onanuga drops on his X handle are actually approved? Because they look more like his personal opinions, and some of these tweets are irritating. Some of these tweets are vexatious. So are you telling me that those tweets are approved by high authorities in presidency? Then it calls to question, how certain senior members of the Tinubu presidency view Nigerians. It actually projects that, some of them view Nigerians with much contempt. Looking at some of the things Onanuga causes to appear on his X handle. So I want to say that I think they can go back, they can go back and, correct whatever problem without coming to wash their dirty linens in public. It's embarrassing. They don't need to disturb us with the embarrassment. We are having a daily battle, coping with Tinubu's poor governance. But they should not come and start showing us that, they are, how they are fighting for relevance or fighting, the power tussle between them. Let them sort themselves out. They can shout at themselves inside the presidency, behind closed doors. That's their problem. They should not come and disturb our peace.
Okay, thank you, Emeka. Looking at what you've just said now, and looking at the current happening between Onanuga and Ngelale coming out to say it's not true, Nigerians deserve an explanation.
Up till now, no explanation.
No explanation. Do you think because today is just past 9, do you think before the end of the day we would actually get an explanation, and maybe we'll look forward to hearing from the president himself?
Well, who are you? Who is now going, unless it's the Minister of Information, who will now stand in between both men and deliver information to Nigeria? Because how am I going to believe that Onanuga, who has yet, as at now, to pull down the tweet? In Ngelale, just before this segment started, I went and checked, I checked my email, where he usually sends updates. Yeah. There's no update. There's nothing. So what? We wait for the Minister of Information to tell us what will happen. But if there was going to be any such event at the National Assembly, the boss will be there. You have National Assembly reporters. By now, You would have, heard about, there would have been breaking news. You would have heard about, people arriving in the National Assembly, the president's advance team and all of that. But there's nothing. We're not hearing anything. So I think they should go and sort themselves out and spare us all this drama.
Okay, this is the first year and this is happening. How do you think subsequent years, let's say he has 3 years remaining and this is just the first year and this commotions, both economically, judiciary, everything how do you think the
it only tells you that, we need to really pray for this country because we're just in serious turbulence.
We've been praying, Emeka,
No, when I say pray for the country, that these people will get it right. Because they keep saying strange things. Okay, look at one of the things, we looked at in newspaper review. Minister of Finance saying that Nigeria has enough money to service its debt. Meanwhile, debt servicing takes over 70%. Takes over 70% of the nation's revenue. So what you're saying is that, you have already packaged 70% of the nation's revenue, to service debts. Meanwhile, the Debt Management Office some days ago told us that the federal government has yet to meet up with the deficit in the 2024 budget. That even though they've engaged in borrowing domestically and all of that, but yet they are still looking for funds. That's why they wanted to tamper with the pension funds, the 20 trillion naira in the pension funds. So why do these people just keep telling us stories as if we are not intelligent, as if we are dunces? We have to put 2 and 2 together. So the need, like I advised Jonathan, the administrations of Jonathan and Buhari, I said you should have a strategic communications unit that will be coordinating these things before anybody goes out there to say anything, including the president. There must be clear-cut, there must be clear-cut bullet points to say, okay, please say this. Please, when you have to address foreign investors, lead the president out. Let ministers speak, or let this, happen, so that if there is any, maybe blowback, then you can escalate it to the president, and then the president will weigh in. But if at the very basic point is the president, and okay, look at like the Qatar, the trip to Qatar. What happened? It was president that came out. What did we get from it? The key thing was that if any of my officials should ask you for a bribe, report to me. That was the best we got from it. Up to today, 1 naira, $1, 1 cent didn't come from Qatar. So these things, they need to be more coordinated.
All right. So just before we drop our anchor on this particular segment, I would love to ask you, Emeka. Many have come to say having Bayo Onanuga in your team is like having Reno Omokri also in your team. And looking at the antecedents of these 2 gentlemen, coming from what they have said and the sensitive matters that they have, made come worse. And the question is, why do you think the presidency should still have Bayo Onanuga on its retinue of people who should be dishing out information?
No, with due respect to the president, he has a right to choose his team. He can even take his son.
But when the team is not doing what...
No, he can take anybody. First of all, let's settle that it's his prerogative. That's one. But there should be clear-cut rules. Because right now, it can be seen that what we had anticipated is happening, what we had feared. You have 2 people bearing the same title, Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Special Advisor Media and Publicity. Who does that? Which country in the world do you see such a thing? You can find another designation for Bayo Onanuga. In the same administration, you have a chief of staff to the president. In the same administration, you have a principal staff officer to the president.
The work must go.
What are they doing? I didn't have a chief of staff. He preferred to have a principal staff officer. Jonathan came, he had a chief of staff. Obasanjo had a chief of staff. Buhari had a chief of staff. But now, you have both of them. How possible is that? How do you work in such an uncoordinated system? Even look at the ministers. There are some ministers whose roles are conflicting. So this one says this, the other one says another thing. I mean, how these people need to sit down. You say, I know there is a need to reward friends and political associates, supporters and all that, but there are offices find something else for Onanuga to do. You know, if you know that Ngelale is the one who is authorized to give factual and true statements for the presidency, then find something else for Onanuga to do. Otherwise, we can't have, this is embarrassing. This thing has gone all over the world. And people will just be laughing at us.
Very true. You see, Choma, this equally brings me to, brings my attention to the importance of going through a proper school to learn PR. You know, just like our guest today did say, you know, when you don't understand what conflict management is, it's often difficult for you to always be on the attacking side than finding a good place to rest, you know, every angry feet.
And aside from that, even if you don't know, there's opportunity and there's room for learning. So it's true and it's important that they should still go to school, learn in as much as they are in office, because they want to serve the public and they have us in mind, because you actually want to get value because you want to give the people value.
Very true.
And that is true. Okay, when we return, crisis in the DSS as more than 390 officers are on the verge of leaving the service. Details in a moment.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.